So in this video, we are going to discuss some tips and tricks about how to finish your exam, UGC Net exam, especially paper 1 within time frame, within 60 minutes. Means how to solve maximum questions within 60 minutes, right? Because many students have this complaint that we have prepared very well for paper 1 also, for paper 2 also, but especially in paper 1, because of less time, we were not able to solve many questions, and because of that we were not able to clear the net exam because of this time management only, right? So I am going to share my experience also, what I used to follow when I generally go for exam, any online exam, because as we know that now UGC is conducting this exam online, it is computer based, right? Before it was offline. Yeah, when I have given this exam, at that time it is offline, it was offline actually, but I have gone through many online exams as well. So I am going to share my experience also, what I used to follow at that time, so that you can get maximum, you can solve maximum questions within that time frame. It's not like that your questions are, see, for paper 1 50 questions are there, right, and 60 minutes, and for paper 2 you have 100 questions and, right, 120 minutes, means total 150 questions are there, and you will get 180 minutes, 3 hours. Before, in paper 1 and paper 2 there was some gap of I think 30 minutes, but now it's single duration, you will get 3 hours and you have to solve 150 questions. It is not compulsory that you have to submit paper 1 within 60 minutes, right, and after that you will solve paper 2. There is, I think, no such boundary, but still you have to just devote only 60 minutes to paper 1. It's not like that if there is no boundary of submission, then you will devote 1 hour and 10 minutes and 15 minutes on just paper 1, and after that you solve paper 2. No, just keep this thing in your mind, just you have 60 minutes for 50 questions, not even 61 minutes, right, and 120 minutes you have to devote for paper 2, and each question is of 2 marks, so total marks 300 marks would be there, right? So first thing you need to take care is of what? Please, before going to the final exam, please practice the online mock test, because paper 1 is what, general paper, so these tricks whatever I am going to tell you will be applied to every student, right? So many of you are, maybe from those who are from computer background, or many other students also familiar with computer, they can deal, they can answer the questions, they can read the question on the screen and they can answer the question. They are familiar with in dealing with computers. They have practiced, generally the students who are having computer background, they have practiced many mock tests, maybe not from UGC Net, some other test also, any aptitude test or any other test on computer, so they are familiar with the process. If you are not familiar with the process, how to solve the questions on computer, how to read the questions, how the questions would be displayed, what options you will have at that time, so I would suggest to all the students, whether you are from computer background or any other background, please practice that mock test that on the website of UGC Net would be given, online mock test, so that you will get familiar with how the question would be displayed, what 4 options would be there, like save and next, for review, save and review, just mark and next, and where the next would be displayed, how to go to the, how to switch to the next question, how to submit, where the submit button is there, how to submit the exam, right? And if you have answered the questions, then there would be on that question, like this is the first question, so there would be green shade on that questions. Suppose second question you haven't answered and you just clicked on next, so that would be red, means you haven't answered these questions. If you have, suppose, just click the button save and review, means you have answered the question but you are not sure about that, you want to review that question at last, so that would be some different color would be there. Or if you have just, suppose you have on the 4th question you have just clicked the button mark for review, so that would be some different color, in different color, and there would be the meaning of each and every color. So 4 categories would be there. So these 4 categories of I think questions would be there. You have answered the questions, mean that would be green. You haven't answered the question, that would be red. You have answered means save the question but mark for review, that would be also a button. So that would be in different color. This is mark for review, that would be in different color. So at last you have the idea that how many questions you have answered and how many are still untouched, you have just skipped like this, so that you can review at the last. So this thing is very important. Please get you familiar with this thing, with the demo, with the mock test, right? How actually the paper would be there in front of you, how you have to answer the questions, the meaning of different colors and everything, where the timer would be there, where your name would be there, so that at that time when you will go for the exam, you will be less nervous at that time, because you will, if you will see everything the first time, then it would be you will need some time to figure out that the meaning of everything. And if you just the questions you have answered, means you have just clicked save and next, means you have answered the questions, those would be counted at the last. If you have saved the question and mark for review, you have done if this thing, your answers would not be counted at the last, right? That is why you have to review your answers in the last. So at least reserve your 5 to 7 minutes to review the paper, right? At last means for paper 1 5 to 7 minutes, right? And for paper 2 10 to 15 minutes just to review your answers, right? Because see, it is impossible to answer all the 50 questions correctly within 60 minutes. Some questions would be definitely be unanswered, some questions would be there in which you are in dilemma and you have saved the answer but you have just marked those questions for review. So within these 5 to 7 minutes in last, you have to attempt all the questions. Because third very important point is what? There is no negative marking. So please attempt all the questions. If you think that almost you have completed 30 to 35 questions and you are sure that at least 30 questions are correct, means you will get 60, above 60 marks, right, in paper 1. So that is fine, that is considered as a very good score. So now you are left with suppose 15 questions that are unanswered, or maybe some questions are for review. So at last within 5 to 7 or 10 minutes, just mark all the questions answered. By just guessing the answers, you don't need to for unanswered questions, because you don't know the answer of these questions, so no need to read the question. Just mark either A, B, C, D or whatever strategy you apply, like Jai Mata Di or anything, but you have to answer all the questions in the last. That is why I am telling you that reserve your at least 5 to 7 minutes in last, so that you can answer the unanswered questions also. Now next step is now how to answer the questions, right? See, some sections are very time consuming, like I think especially DI, the reading comprehension and reasoning, right? These are some time consuming sections, and theoretical units are like teaching aptitude, research aptitude, communication, ICT, higher education, Indian politics and government policies. These are what? These are theoretical questions. So my suggestion would be what? Please do not try to solve these questions first. So try to attempt those sections first which are less time consuming and which are easy for you, in which you are strong. Like when you read the question, then within 5 to 7 seconds or within 10 seconds, you will come to know that can you answer the questions or not, right? Some questions would be like that, just by reading once within 5 to 7 seconds and you will get the answer. Just mark and save and next, right? If you think that you cannot solve that questions, just leave it. Do not waste much time on a single question, because on an average for each question you have just 1 minute in paper 1, right? Please do not take it on your ego that I have practiced this section very much, right? So I have to solve these questions. Sometimes the questions would be tricky and you will not get the answer, just you will waste your time. Please do not waste your time on a single question, that is why I am saying you, right? So in one go from 1 to 50 solve these questions, right? Like you think that within 5 to 7 seconds some question would be there, within 5 to 7 seconds you will get the answer, just save and next. By reading the answer, by reading the question one time, you think that yeah, you can devote 10 to 15 seconds more, or within 20 or within 30 seconds you will get the answer. So try to solve that questions. And now at the same time, within that first go only, when you are going from 1 to 50, like you think that DI questions, reading comprehension question, reasoning questions, you are good at these things, but they will take some time, more than 30 seconds, right? Means within 1 minute or maybe 1 minute 10 seconds, within 10 seconds you can solve these questions. So you can mark those questions and mark for review, right? That would be, I think, in purple or blue color, so that in the last, when you have answered from 1 to 50, some questions would be answered green, some question would be unanswered, that is you don't know the answer, that are red. Some questions may be like you know the answer but you just want to review, so just press save and mark for review. And some answers, some questions would be like DI and reasoning, that they'll need some time. You know the answer, you can solve the question, but they'll need some time, so you can mark for review those questions. So I think within 20 to 25 minutes you can do this thing, right? Now it's time to solve these type of questions. See, from DI you will get 5 questions, but at least 2 questions would be very easy. You can solve those questions very easily, right? So try to solve those questions first, like mark for review questions. You can click on that, like 4 question is marked for review, and that question would be in front of your screen, right? At least 2 questions from DI would be very easy, solve those questions. At least 2 questions would be from reading comprehension, that would be very easy, try to solve those questions. From reasoning also, logical reasoning, maths reasoning, 10 question would be there, so maybe at least 5 questions would be there that you can solve easily, maybe within 1 minute. So try to solve those questions. Yeah, those 2 or 3 questions that are tough, you can leave right now those questions. It's not like that for comprehension. First of all, read the passage, right? Then read the questions. So obviously at that time, you know, we are nervous and the timer is ticking in your mind in front of you. So it's not like that you have read that passage and you have remembered everything and now you can answer the question. So it's better, do not waste your time by reading the passage first. First read the question, right? At least 2 questions would be very easy. The answer of those questions you will get within 2, 3 or 4 lines. First 2, 3, 4 lines of the passage. Read the question, first 2 questions, and try to find the answers. Then read the passage after reading the questions. That is my personal experience and my personal tip. And you will get the answer very easily, right? Same for reasoning. Now next comes to save and mark for review. Try to review those questions again, right? But now you are not supposed to leave any question like save and mark for review for later, because you don't have time. So just save and next, right? Means you have answered that questions. Now only questions would be remaining. I think within 20 minutes you can do this thing. Now last, I guess 15 minutes are left and your answers are now, questions are now in red flag, means you have the questions, remaining questions are unanswered. So now one by one, obviously you have 15 minutes, one by one, read the question if you have 15 minutes. If you really don't know the answer, don't waste the time, just mark any answer. And if in this case like reasoning or comprehension or DI, if you still think that those remaining 2 to 3 questions that are tough, you have left those questions, those you can solve within 1 minute or 2 minutes. So try to solve those questions, right? And if you don't know the answer, just take any answer for that. But you are not supposed to left any question now at this time in last 15 minutes unanswered or save for review. You have to attempt every question. Now within 60 minutes, now every question is having your green color, means you have answered every question. So I think the main point here is what? At first, please try to solve those questions in which you are sure and you think that you can get the answer within 30 to 35 seconds. Maybe these questions are from reasoning also. From reasoning also there are some very simple questions and you can get the answer within 30 seconds. So you can solve those questions. It's not like that it's reasoning you have to solve after, after 20 or 25 seconds. If I have said that just leave these portion first and after that solve. Maybe comprehension also, just read the first or second in one go only, just read first and second question, and if you think that you can get the answer within 30 seconds by reading just 2 or 3 lines first, you can answer those questions also within one go during the first attempt from 1 to 50, right? But please do not waste your time, much time at starting on those questions in which you are not sure and those who will take more than 1 minute to solve. Next important tip is what? See, if still you are reading the questions from first, then second question, then third, then fourth, fifth, sixth, and suppose first 6 to 7 question or 8 questions you are not able to solve, means you don't know the answer and you have left unanswered. So at that time many students get stressed and many students get nervous, like I haven't attempted first 6 to 7 questions or 8 questions, now well what will I do? Please don't do this thing. There are many questions left at starting. Obviously your mind, you have to set your mind at that time, everything is new, you have to solve 50 questions within 60 minutes and obviously you are little bit nervous, so you will get 1-2 minutes or 3 minutes to be familiar with that situation. So that is totally fine, it's okay if you haven't answered the first 6-7 questions or 8 questions in starting. It's okay, it happens. You have to just remain at that time cool and you have to just focus. Your full concentration would be on reading the question. Just read that question with full concentration and with fully focused on that question, right? It's not like that to get that question you have to read that question 2 or 3 times or 4 times. Please do not do this thing, right? Read the question in such a way that in first read only you get that you can answer the question or you cannot answer the question. And trust me, it's very easy to get 60 plus marks in paper 1 if you have prepared, if you have just devoted sincerely at least 15 days for preparing of paper 1, and if you have managed your time in attempting the paper 1 during your final day. I think with the preparation, how to attempt the question during your final day, during your exam, that is also very important. So that's it for this video. Now I'm going to see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care.